on what is happening in Zimbabwe, a critical period that we've entered. And this is something that I've been fortunate to be close to. And this is because a few years ago, specifically in 2020, I managed to meet a number of people at a meeting in Johannesburg. And Christopher Mutsvangwa happened to be there at the meeting, which was organized by the Zimbabwe Embassy. And I was actually filming, so I've got video. And I'm fortunate to be probably the only person or the only journalist who was there on that day. And it became clear to me as I was reviewing the footage that Christopher Mutsvangwa considers himself to be the next person who's going to take over in Zimbabwe. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to upload a short snippet of that long discussion. I think he spoke for about 40 minutes, but the sound was so bad. So I've taken some portions of what Christopher Mutsvangwa said during that time, which is in 2020, just to show you what Christopher Mutsvangwa said about himself, about the ZIG, about Chamisa, and about the period leading up to the coup. So Christopher Mutsvangwa, as you get to know him more and more, you actually understand that he's got ambitions that go beyond just being a minister, being an advisor. He believes that he is the next person to lead Zimbabwe. And I believe that Christopher Mutsvangwa is actually the person that is going to be put into office by different groups. So there are a number of groups right now that are thinking who is going to be next, the next Zimbabwe president. And the jostling that you're seeing right now, the arrest of Nevu Mutsvangwa, who was denied bail yesterday. So Nevu Mutsvangwa is going to be in jail for the next 2 weeks until the 30th of May. Nevu Mutsvangwa, that is the next time he's going to appear in court. He's probably going to stay longer. However, what you have to understand is that Christopher Mutsvangwa himself, he believes that he is the person that is going to be president, and he's going to soon declare that he's going to be the next president of Zimbabwe. So let's look at what Christopher Mutsvangwa said in the past. And the first thing is, Christopher Mutsvangwa claims that he is the first person to introduce most of the policies that Mnangagwa is running right now. Christopher Mutsvangwa says is the one that brought them into place. So take, for example, the telecommunications. Christopher Mutsvangwa claims that he's the founder of the digital economy in Zimbabwe. He also claims that he is the one who has brought the steel companies into Zimbabwe, the lithium companies into Zimbabwe. He also claims that during the coup, he's the one who went to meet President Jacob Zuma in Cape Town and persuaded the South Africans to not declare the takeover of Mnangagwa as a coup. He also says, and you'll see this in the video that I'm going to upload. So if I remember, you can go to the channel already. You can see the video that I've uploaded. So it will take me a few minutes, maybe after this broadcast, to produce the video. And you must understand that for those who just joined, what I'm saying is that Christopher Mutsvangwa believes that he is going to be the next president after Mnangagwa. He believes that he's more senior than all the other people, and he has already started taking steps to become the next president of Zimbabwe. So what you are seeing is jostling, but the jostling is based on a declared. So Mutsvangwa has declared that he's going to be the one who's going to take over in ZANU-PF, and he believes that he's the most senior person in ZANU-PF to take over. I'm going to give you who is who in ZANU-PF later this week. I just haven't had time to say, to sift through all the information that I've got. But Mutsvangwa, as it stands right now, that is going to be the next ZANU-PF president. He's going to be the next president in ZANU-PF. And that means he's going to bypass and he's going to leapfrog General Changa. And this is the difficulty. What you're seeing here is a difficult maneuver where Mutsvangwa has to say General Changa is vice president, Mohadi is vice president, but he's going to bypass both of them and become their president. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of fighting here. And you remember what I've been saying about the third force? I've been saying a lot about the third force. Mutsvangwa said something about the third force. But I actually believe that Mutsvangwa is the third force. He is the third force, or the face of the third force right now, as it stands. Maybe the other parties who are part of the third force, but as things stand right now, Mutsvangwa is probably going to be, given the historical context, he's probably going to be the face of the third force. So you're seeing the declaration of intention by the people who want a different order. They don't want Changa, they don't want Mnangagwa, but they want someone who is acceptable in ZANU-PF. And Mutsvangwa currently is that person. He's got a lot of connections. And I want to take you back to 2019 in July. So in July 2019, there was an attempt to remove Mnangagwa by the army. And this happened after Mnangagwa changed the clause, the running clause, running mate clause in the constitution. And at the time I made a video, I'm going to share that video later today. I'll share the whole video of what I said at the time. So during that time, the army and Mnangagwa had a fight, and they wanted to remove Mnangagwa in July, using people like Tsenengam and Kasukuwer and so forth. So there were many people who were involved in that plot to remove Mnangagwa. At the time, Mutsvangwa had traveled, and he had the support of some senators. So I don't want to repeat what I said at the time. And this was published by Spotlight Zimbabwe. He had support of some senators in the United States, and also the Chinese, and I think the Russians and the South Africans. So Mutsvangwa at the time brokered a deal where Mnangagwa was going to step down, and there was going to be an acceptable replacement. So I'm going to put that in place for you. And the acceptable replacement at the time, according to the reports, was General Changa. But as things stand now, it's not going to be like that. Mutsvangwa has decided that himself, he is the person that is going to take over. He's going to be declaring himself as the next leader of ZANU-PF and the next leader of Zimbabwe. So you're going to see this thing develop. And it's going to become a fight between General Changa, who believes that he's next in line, and Mutsvangwa, who believes that he's the smartest person in ZANU-PF. So Mutsvangwa believes that General Changa is not prepared to take over as the president of ZANU-PF. And he believes that he's the smartest person. He's the person that can take over and become the president of ZANU-PF. And as I said last night, and you saw that I was talking to the ZIG President. The ZIG President, very, very connected. I've got a lot of trust in the ZIG President, because I've dealt with these guys outside of this platform, and I believe what they say. I believe that Mutsvangwa at the moment will have to prove his muscle. So that is where we're going. Changa will have to prove his muscle. He has to prove his ability to maneuver the judiciary. He has to prove his ability to maneuver the military. He has to prove his ability to get his son out. So if Changa cannot get his son out, he cannot be president. That is where everything is going to end. If you see Neville not being able to get out within these next 30 days, then you know that Changa is not going to be president. But this is where we are. We're at a point where Changa has made the declaration. I don't know if he's made it publicly or privately, but he has said to someone that he wants to be president, and he's getting the push, he's getting the test. That is where we are. He's getting tested to see if he's capable, if he's able to get the right people to act under his instructions. So this is where we need to focus. We need to focus on what happens next. And I want to, obviously, that's our headline. As I said, I'll post the video of a recording that I made of Christopher Mutsvangwa speaking at a function in Johannesburg in 2020. He revealed a lot of things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a snippet of that video on Gambakwe after a few hours. Then you'll be able to see what Mutsvangwa said. Mutsvangwa believes that he's the smartest person. He's the next person to take Zimbabwe to the next level. And he's been involved in everything that has been happening in Zimbabwe We're talking here about the coup. We're talking here about the economic policies of Mnangagwa. We're talking here about bringing investors into Zimbabwe, and also the ZIG. The current ZIG that you're seeing now was conceptualized by Mutsvangwa in 2019. That is what he's saying in the video that I'm going to post for you here. And he said this in 2020. So I'm not talking about something he said after. He said this in 2020, and I'm going to show you in the video that I'm going to post very shortly. And that video is going to be titled Mutsvangwa Speaks on the Coup, Chamisa and gold-backed currency. So you'll be able to check it after a few hours. So dramatic period. A lot is happening, and let us keep watching this story. And obviously, let's keep watching what Mutsvangwa is going to say. I understand there was a car accident last night. I have not verified what happened. I saw some clips circulating, but I believe that they're old clips. I believe that Mutsvangwa is safe as far as I'm concerned. I haven't seen anything in the news that says otherwise. So I don't believe that anything has happened to Mutsvangwa. So let's look and watch what is happening. But the important thing that we need to watch is that Mutsvangwa believes that he's the person that is going to take over after Mnangagwa. And I don't know at what point, whether Mnangagwa is going to finish his term or not, I do not know. And as I say, that depends on what Chamisa does at SADC. And clearly, Chamisa has had or intended to have a private conversation with Mnangagwa. You will see in the video that I post that Mutsvangwa explains how Chamisa approached him and what Chamisa said to him. So these are the things that we need to watch. Yesterday, Chamisa was out at Nyaradzo. You saw what Chamisa said. Chamisa is looking for dialogue. He's looking for Zimbabwe to move forward without any confrontation. That is what Chamisa is saying here. And you can go to, I think it was Sly Media, if I'm not mistaken. You can go and check the video of Chamisa speaking. Chamisa has said he believes that his approach of being a Christian is the way to go, and he does not want to take other approaches. So I don't think I'm misrepresenting Chamisa here, but you can go and have a look. However, at that time, Mutsvangwa has already said that he proposed a direct negotiation between Chamisa and Mnangagwa. And one of the strangest things that I heard, he said to me, or he said during that conversation, because I was standing right next to him, like I was filming next to Mutsvangwa, and he said, Chamisa comes from Chivi. So I don't know if Chamisa comes from Chivi or it was me who misunderstood, but you see it in the video when he says, I said to Chamisa that you come from Chivi and Mnangagwa comes from Chivi. So you should both go to Bishop Nehemiah Mtendi and then you can talk. So you remember all that happened that I've explained here. Chamisa went to Bishop Nehemiah Mtendi and they had a discussion. So if Mutsvangwa was coming to office, then a negotiation with Chamisa would be very easy. They are already talking. So the talking between Chamisa and Mutsvangwa is at a level that is very, very close. It's not the same as the discussion between Mnangagwa and Chamisa. I'm sure that Mutsvangwa, the way he is, he's got the number of everyone in Southern Africa. I'm talking here of all the top leaders, and I'm also talking of the important countries, which is the United States, the guys in China, the guys in Russia. He's got all these guys on a speed dial. He's got the South Africans on a speed dial. He revealed that the Zimbabweans trained the South African Air Force. So these are some of the things that you're going to see that Mutsvangwa was saying. And I don't know how many people know all these things, but where we are going, we are deep in the succession period. The post-Mnangagwa era, what I call the post-Mnangagwa era. Mnangagwa has lost his influence. Mnangagwa is not able to do anything. His projects are stuck. The ZIG is a mess. It's crashing, and it's not going to happen. The structures that Mnangagwa has put in place, his dynasty, is not adequate and appropriate for where Zimbabwe needs to go. So people are looking for solutions within ZANU-PF and outside of ZANU-PF. Right, and now I want to go to the news very quickly. I'm not going to take long today, so that you guys can get to watch the clip that I'm going to put up. So let's look at the news very, very quickly. As usual, Auxiliary Mnangagwa has done something crazy. There is no day that passes without Auxiliary Mnangagwa doing something crazy. This time she is in, what is this country, Nigeria? She's in Nigeria. And when she went to Nigeria, she went in with a lot of presents for the First Lady of Nigeria. But the First Lady of Nigeria didn't come to meet her at the airport. She was met by a representative. And then eventually, they had to go to her hotel. So this is the meeting here of Auxiliary Mnangagwa with the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Tinubu. And I found this video very strange, but you can go and watch it. I'm sure it's going to be posted by the president's office. And then, obviously, this is Nigeria. Nigeria looking quite well. I've never been to Nigeria myself, but I'm going to go very soon just to have a look to see what Nigeria looks like. But this is Nigeria, and you can see that the vice president, the first lady of Nigeria, and the posters along this road. She's running a conference for women, and that is what Auxiliary Mnangagwa is going to be doing over there and with other first ladies. But Auxiliary Mnangagwa always the first to arrive, and very interesting. I find it like there's no one. It makes me laugh like Auxiliary Mnangagwa of all the people. I think she tries too hard. Then let's go to Chamisa. Obviously, we say Chamisa has appeared at the funeral of the Nyaradzo funeral director, and Chamisa spoke very, very well. I was particularly looking to see if Chamisa is physically fit, and I saw some things which I won't say now. And then I want to go to Harare. Harare is being run by a commission now. So Harare is being run by a commission. They have appointed a 6-month commission to sort out the issues. So basically, you can kiss the opposition goodbye in Harare. They're going to be running that thing as a ZANU-PF project now. The Harare City Council, they're going to approve all the projects that they've been failing to get through regarding the waste collection. You know, they've been having issues with waste collection. So that is going to happen now because the commission is going to be running the city of Harare. And then Zimbabwe has introduced set-top desks, decoders. So set-top or desktop decoders, where you can get TV. And the channels that you're going to be able to get on the TV, let me show you what channels you're getting there on the free-to-air decoder, which costs $25. There is no ZIG price. So there's no ZIG price for it, but these are the channels that you'll be able to get. And that is ZBC TV, ZBC News, ZBC Jive, ZBC 06, Kiona, 3K TV, and NRTV. These are the TVs that you're going to get for $25, and it's been produced by the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. Then in business news, we have a big story, that is the CFDs. The CFDs have been introduced in Zimbabwe at the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And for those who don't know what CFDs are, that is where you trade. So trading, the way you trade on the market is now available in Zimbabwe at the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. And you have to be very, very careful. Do not, very careful, do not trade anymore. So I no longer trade. And I've told people why. There is AI, which has been put into the bots, into the charts. So if you try to trade now, you will lose. I used to make $25 into $500 easily. And now it's not possible anymore because of the AI. So AI technology has destroyed trading. So don't do it, and let the experts do it. Don't be involved. So I'm now going to look at the newspapers. So in the newspapers, there's not really much that is in there, except the H Metro newspaper has got a lot of stories, as usual. So you can go and look at this story that they're carrying here. That is Charamba, Babana Mai Charamba, in the UK, or they've completed a visit to the UK. And then in terms of the Herald newspaper, so there's other stories. So you can go and look at the H Metro newspaper, and see what they say there. Newsday newspaper, they are leading with the story of the ZIG. As I said to you last week, ZANU-PF has started leading the RBZ when it comes to the ZIG. So when the RBZ is going to present on the ZIG, ZANU-PF is now going there first. And they are chanting slogans, and they're making sort of like intimidating people. That is what they're doing. And ZANU-PF guys, the RBZ has lost control of the ZIG roadshows, so it's now being run by ZANU-PF. And as I said, the ZIG is a disaster. It's a nothing, it's a fake currency, and it will crash parabolically. No one should use the ZIG. If you see the ZIG, swipe it. That is what I said. So now we also have the story of ZANU-PF youths have been sent to Chimoio. So they're over here looking at what is happening at Chimoio. Chimoio is the place where there was a bombing of the youths who were in camp. They were not fighting, but they were in camp. And there has been some strange things happening at Chimoio, like blood oozing out of certain places and bees biting people. So ZANU-PF has gone over there and they've done some rituals. So I'll put up the clip on our TikTok of the people who maintain the Chimoio shrine, describing those crazy occurrences at Chimoio. I'm sure the people that are buried there are turning in their graves after what ZANU-PF did. So if you check after an hour, you see on our TikTok, I'll upload the video by the caretakers at Chimoio who describe that blood has been oozing out of a certain corner at the Chimoio shrine. Right, I think we've covered most of the news here that I needed to cover. Let's look at the South African newspapers. I want to see what is happening in the Soweto newspaper. So in the Herald is the same. They've got the story of First Lady Oxley Mnangagwa over there. So she is in there. And then obviously there is the story of the delegations that are coming to Zimbabwe. And also Mnangagwa opened the Mikos, the old Mikos Hotel, which is now the Hyatt Regency Hotel. So you can go and check out the news bulletin is almost half Mnangagwa. But I don't mind Mnangagwa as such in terms of being on the news. What I mind is you have Mnangagwa, then you have Auxilia, then you have Kuda, then after that you have Young Women for ED, and then you have Tongai. It's crazy. Like yesterday, Barbara was there on the news as usual. So it's crazy. These guys need to address the boring nature of the news bulletin at ZBC. It's crazy what is happening over there. So as I was saying, let's look at South African newspapers. Let's see what is trending in South Africa. South Africa is just about to get into the elections. So let's see what is happening in South Africa. There is a pension fraud, a bogus lawyer, and 4 others caught for alleged theft of millions due to claimants. So this is obviously a fraud story. It's not a personal story that is in the Soweto newspaper. I usually read the Soweto newspaper, and then there's not really much that is relevant to Zimbabwe here, as far as I can see. But you can always go and look at the South African newspapers and see what is over there. So let's recap, and then I'll upload for you the video of what Christopher Mutsvangwa said in 2020. So I said to you that in 2019, in July, Mutsvangwa was a broker of peace between the military, the Zimbabwe military, and Mnangagwa. At that point, the military wanted Mnangagwa to step down in July 2019. So the person who brokered the peace between the military and Mnangagwa was Mutsvangwa. At the time, General Changa was supposed to take over if Mnangagwa had stepped down. But obviously, Mnangagwa didn't step down. And a lot has happened. The generals have been decimated. Remember what I said when I said Vakabatwa se Ishwa. So now Mutsvangwa has decided, and I don't know if he has communicated this in public or in private, that he's going to take over. That is the most senior person in ZANU-PF, and he wants to take over ahead of General Chwenga, ahead of Vice President Mohadi, and everyone else who claims to be next in line. So Mutsvangwa has positioned himself as the next person to take over as Zimbabwe president. So that is the context that you should see everything that is happening. And the test that Mutsvangwa is going to face is, can he get his son released? If you see Mutsvangwa failing to release his son, if he cannot negotiate it with all his connections, then he's not going to be president. But if you see him managing to release his son, then he's going to be president. If he's able to bypass the guys in the judiciary, the guys in the military, and get everyone behind him, then he's going to be president. Clearly, Mnangagwa is failing to do anything about this matter. There is a reason why Mnangagwa cannot release Nevo, because it's very easy. The charges that Nevo is facing, they're nothing charges. You don't need to be in jail for those charges that he's facing, especially given that there's no proof. Just having Visa cards is not proof that you were trading. It's not like he was caught transacting. So these charges could easily have been, he could easily have walked out yesterday, but he didn't. So if you see Nevo walking out on bail or whatever, then you know that Mutsvangwa can be president. But if he cannot do it, if he's unable to save his own son, then it's going to be a very, very difficult period for him. He's not going to be able to take over. And as I said way back, that there's a third force, a business, military, and political structure that is fed up of Mnangagwa and Chamisa and want a new political order, which will begin with a 10 years transitional period leading to fresh elections and a new president around 2040. So this is what you should be looking at. And this is what we've been saying for a very, very long time. I think when I started saying this, people thought Gambakwe has smoked his own supply. But now you can see it. Good morning. Gambakwe, it is plausible that Chris Mutsvangwa may be a potential candidate for presidency, given his prominent role as a leader of the war veterans. Right. So I think, let me give you some background. I like what you've done here. You've given me an opportunity to dig into Mutsvangwa. And my brothers in the military have given me some information about Mutsvangwa. So Mutsvangwa is not a soldier. That is one thing you must understand. Mutsvangwa never fired shots. He never went into the front. Mutsvangwa was the communications or radio guy for ZANU-PF. So as I said, I'm going to give you more detail, and I've been given this information by people who were in the struggle. Mutsvangwa did not fight in the war. He was in the radio, and his wife, Monica, at that time, she was also there in Mozambique. But this is where the Tongogara connection comes in. So all these people are connected to Tongogara. So Mnangagwa, Mutsvangwa, Monica, all these people are connected to Tongogara. Opa, they're all connected. But he never fought in the war. There were, some of them were secretarial, some of them were bodyguards. So the current people that we have, some of them did not fight in the war. So his credentials his credential as a war veteran is fake. He's not. When I say fake, I just like using the word fake. I'm saying like he did not fight with a gun. So he is probably not the person that should be the leader of the war veterans. That is why you see Kuti, the war veterans in Bulawayo have been fighting Mutsvangwa. He did not fight in the war. He was not in the command. So when you talk of command, who was in the command? Those are the things that you need to understand. And Mutsvangwa was not in the command. His claim to the presidency is from that he arrived first. So whoever arrived in Mozambique afterwards were just following on his. Okay, they found him there. that's all I can say. And then in terms of people like General Changa, General Changa arrived way before most of these guys. That was 1973, if I'm not mistaken. But he was not high up in terms of the hierarchy of ZANU-PF. He was, I think, was an instructor at some point, but he did not become an instructor in the beginning. So he was way junior at the time, but he rose through the ranks because he was very young. So in terms of the people who actually in the struggle, who fought, currently General Chwenga is the only senior person who fired a gun. So that is what you guys have to understand. General Chwenga is senior of every person that fought, who fired a gun, who is still in ZANU-PF. However, there are people who are not in ZANU-PF that are more senior than General Chwenga. And we're talking here about Rugare Gumbo, Maim Juru, I can't remember the other person, but there are people in ZAPU also who are way senior. But in terms of the people who are active in politics right now, General Chwenga is the most senior of the people that fought. However, Christopher Mutsvangwa, because of the post-independence activities, the coup activities, and everything that is done, he's got more connections than anybody. There is nobody in the country who is more connected than Mutsvangwa in terms of everything, companies, regional, international, everything that you know. Mnangagwa relied on Mutsvangwa. So basically everything that Mnangagwa has been doing, if he had followed Mutsvangwa's advice, it was going to succeed. But Mnangagwa has been very stubborn and has been following the dynasty route. That is why where the fallout is. And this is why Mutsvangwa thinks he can be president. He thinks he can do a better job than Mnangagwa. Then, Ngoma Mtungama, I guess you got to answer. And I hope that we can take this up after you watch the video that I'm going to present to you later on, a short video. I just made it 5 minutes from the 40 minutes. I want you to see the key points, which is the coup, the technology industry. You see, his son is being arrested for the Starlink. He is saying he's the one who brought internet to Zimbabwe. You see it in that clip. We want to look at his communication with Zuma, Jacob Zuma, during the coup, and we want to look at his discussion with Chamisa on dialogue. That is why you see Chamisa acting the way he's acting now. And it's explained. When Chamisa went to Mutsvangwa, it's explained there in that video. So you're going to see. And when I made this video, unfortunately, the network was so poor, so the sound is quite poor. But you see, you get what was happening. And as I said, I happened to be right there. Some of the people that were there were, I think, Ambassador Ahmad Ziripi, Rutendo, my friend Rutendo Benson, Matinyarare, my frenemy, was over there. And why I raised Rutendo Benson Matinyarare, it's very important. So you must listen to what I'm telling you now. Rutendo is fighting a company called Innscor. Innscor is a Zimbabwean company that makes chicken and chips. Rutendo is in court with that company. And in that clip, Mutsvangwa praises Innscor. So I do not know why Innscor is being fought by ZANU-PF, because they used to supply the cars to ZANU-PF. So I don't know what has happened between Innscor and ZANU-PF. And when you see Rutendo acting, unfortunately, Rutendo always acts with the interests of the ZANU-PF guys. And Rutendo can correct me. I know Rutendo watches here. He can correct me. But I think the battle between Mutsvangwa, Innscor, ZANU-PF, and all these players is linked somehow. And we eventually understand what is going on. I don't know why those big companies like Innscor are being dragged into this. Econet, I don't know why Econet is being dragged. Remember, Econet was banned from transacting in US dollars. EcoCash was banned. And Mutsvangwa mentions all these things. The Zimbabwe Stock Exchange was closed. All these things are close to Mutsvangwa. Changa is very, very close to things that General Chwenga did not even know what were happening, because General Chwenga was sidelined for a very, very long time. It's only recently when Mnangagwa felt security threatened. So when Mnangagwa almost got John Dodd in Victoria Falls, you will see that everywhere he goes with General Chwenga. And that is he's using General Chwenga for cover. I've been saying that to you, for security purposes. And where you don't see General Chwenga, Mnangagwa is going somewhere where he's got so much security that he probably has a crowd around him. his security is not, he is not feeling secure. So let's look at Mkoma Patrick. Mutsvangwa, no, he is very cruel. I don't know about this Mkoma Patrick. Maybe he may give us more detail. I don't claim to know everything. I speak to the first force, second force, and third force. But most of them have said to me that Mutsvangwa is lying, but they've not said he's cruel. So the guys in the third force and the second force, they've said that Mutsvangwa is lying. He's not the one who's supposed to be next. And everyone is agreed that the most senior person right now in terms of military is General Chwenga. There's no one who, even if you go to anybody, they will tell you that General Chwenga, among the guys who are there right now, is the most senior. But there are other people who are outside who won't come back. For example, Mem Juru will never come back to office. Rugare Gumbo will never come back to office. They're going to be out of office. So the fight is basically between Mutsvangwa and General Chwenga, who's going to take over after Mnangagwa. Right, I think we need to bring this to an end. And I want to explain something that has happened in terms of our Facebook. So there is a site called Gambakwe.com. You're going to see a picture of me with my hands like this on two tripod stands. That is where we're broadcasting now. We are no longer using Gambakwe media page due to some certain changes that have happened. And as I've said, there have been attempts to bring down our channels. But I know that Mnangagwa doesn't want anyone to bring back my page. I know that if I walk in Zimbabwe, no one is going to touch me. I'm quite safe. So, because I'm just doing my work here. So, people from ZANU, if you think you're helping Mnangagwa by bringing down my page, stop it. Mnangagwa doesn't want anyone, or people from all the forces, they talk to me. So, there's no reason for you to try to attempt to bring down my pages. It makes no sense. Because you hear nothing. And with the poor intelligence, you're going to not understand. So at least you need someone who's going to try to explain the situation. So guys, stop trying to bring down our pages. So if you want to see me live and you only have a Facebook bundle, you go to Gambakwe.com. That is the new page that we have had to open. So you can go over there. But this YouTube channel, that is where we're going to be doing most of our broadcasts, and also on our Twitter. You're going to see most of our broadcasts there. And Mgoma Danisa says, Mnangagwa has been vocal because he was having inner side in the military and intelligence. That's why he looked so genius. Mutsvangwa, yes, Mutsvangwa, you're right, Mkoma. Mutsvangwa, I do not think the military is one. So let's end there. The military is not one. So there are two factions in the military. There is a faction that belongs to Mnangagwa, and this faction, now Valerio and all those guys. So that is where you've got the faction with in the army. These guys want to maintain the status quo. So Anna Valerio, they're going to maintain the status quo. But Valerio is also a very fair person, from my understanding. He's not a person that will go after anyone. He is a military guy. However, there is a faction in the military that wants a political change. And they believe that the current system of a dynasty is a problem. So now you have two factions. A faction that believes that the dynasty is not right, and a faction that believes that they must maintain the status quo. So the only difference, and whoever is going to come on top, is the person with the strongest intelligence. And thank you very much, Mkoma Thomas, big guy, for the support. So the person with the most intelligence is going to come out on top. When I talk of intelligence, I mean information. Who's got more information? Who's got more strategy? And as I said to you, Vanva General, like they were taken out. So now the only thing left is who is going to move first. The person to move first is going to become the one that is going to take over. And I want to end it here, guys. I've overdone this. I need to be in gym right now so that we can sort out the health issues of Gambakwe. And I've talked for so long. So thank you very much, everyone. And I hope that we'll continue with these discussions. And as I said, we do have a critical moment between now and August. But Chamisa, what I would suggest for Chamisa, when you see your two enemies fighting, go and stand over there and watch. Do not be part of it. So Chamisa must not be part of any side. That is what I can suggest to Chamisa. Because when this ends, both sides are going to need Chamisa. This is what is going to happen. Both sides are going to need Chamisa in their side. And so he must wait for everyone to fight themselves tired. And then he steps in, because we are in for a fight of a lifetime. Like when you're watching WWE, this is the Royal Rumble where you're going. And you're just at the moment when you're going to see who's going to tap out. And someone is going to tap out. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And please watch that video that I'm going to upload within the next few minutes, just to show you context of what I filmed of Mutsvangwa. Many people underestimate Mutsvangwa. He's good. He's knowledgeable. But as I said, the military strength or muscle is going to come into play in ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF succession politics is where we are right now.